On today's show, we're talking Padres, Rays, but I'm not alone. Ulises Sambrano, Kevin Weiss of Locked On Rays, talking about not just the biggest storylines, but the pitching matchups, everything you need to know for this weekend, and the very weird surge of awesome offensive talent that I've never heard of on the Tampa Bay Rays. Who is it? We'll talk about all that more on today's show, guys.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Locked On Padres and Locked On Rays podcast. I am one of your hosts, obviously just one of your hosts, with sometimes, occasionally, but certainly not always the most, Javi Reyes. You can follow me on Twitter at Javapeno, Twitter/X, as well as Blue Sky, JAVIIPENO. Folks, it's not just me, though. I have two illustrious guests because on my show, at least, I don't know what it's like for them. I only allow illustrious guests on my show. You must be illustrious or else you are barred from ever even looking in my direction. Let me tell you, I'm joined by some longtime friends of mine, Ulises Sambrano and Kevin Weiss of Locked On Rays. Guys, how are you doing ahead of this series, man?
I'm doing so good every time you contact us because it just brings a smile to my face. And I know that Kevin feels the same way.
Yes, I mean, not to be biased, but it's always fun to be on Locked On Padres with Javi Reyes. We legitimately laugh and smile and enjoy ourselves, I think, more so than any other crossover. If I may say. You can cut that out if you want, but I'm just putting that compliment out there.
Buddy, I'm keeping that in, and I might even watch my own episode at least tomorrow. Right. I've never done that. I might just do it for that. Yes. Amazing stuff. I appreciate the love. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff today, guys. All things Padres, Rays. Unfortunately, probably not going to be able to talk about Ha-Seong Kim. That was my dream. I wanted to see how he was doing, but he's still recovering over there. So I guess that'll be just something that Padres fans have to look at from afar. We will not be able to talk about that with them, but there's still plenty to talk about because both of our divisions are crazy, right? The NL West, so far, the best division in baseball. It's been the most common talking point. Everybody knows that. And then the AL East is just a little bit absurd. It's always absurd, right? You've got the Orioles who decided, I don't think we need starting pitching. Interesting strategy. We have the Rays, who are a little bit in a bit of a rebuild because of some injuries, because of star players going the wrong way, a bunch of other things, maybe some regular day players regressing. And then you've got the Toronto Blue Jays, who were like, you know what? We got to get someone. And they signed Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to $800 million over the next 3 years, I believe was the deal. And then you've got the Yankees, who are weird as always by just being very casually good. And then you've got the Red Sox, who score 16 runs a game or give up 16 runs a game. Really wild division. And I want to just talk with you guys first about like what it's been like. Where are the Rays currently when it comes to just the overall arc, I think, as a team, not just in context of just the AL East, but just their plans as well.
I think as a team, we came in with very little worries on the pitching staff. We came in with very little worries on the defense. The base running, but the biggest questions were on the offense. And we have seen how it's been a little bit of a treacherous path right now getting runners to score, because although Fangraphs or Baseball Savant or Baseball Reference, whichever one is your favorite to see, the list of runs scored or runners in scoring position, average, it can be a little bit deceiving because the Rays have scored about 94 runs this year, right? 94, 95. 28% of their runs were scored on, you guessed it, 2 games. So that's a big chunk of runs in only 2 games. So it can be a little bit deceiving when you see that list of, they're in the middle of the pack, or they're 21st, 22nd. Oh, they're good. And with that pitching staff, they should be really good. But then when you break that down and say, wait, almost 30% of the runs are in 2 games, and they've played what? They're 9-14. They're 23 games. So what's happening in the 21 games? Well, in the other 21 games, what it's been happening is they get shut out 1-0, 1-0, 4-0. The Rays are not really being able to take out the juice, the good juice that they're starting pitching, and sometimes their bullpen has been a little bit shaky, has given them performances, but the Rays haven't really been able to capitalize with their offensive production. Kevin, I don't know if you feel the same way.
No, I completely agree, and I think the solution is for the Rays to trade for Fernando Tatis Jr. pronto. I think that's the only thing that can remedy this situation, because I am mucho jealous of what the Padres are doing and what you have in the monstrosity that is Tatis Jr. among others. So, and we're on we are on Ha-Seong Kim watch. We cannot wait until he gets called up, because we need that offense at the shortstop position up the middle, like right now.
Yeah, I appreciate the 101.9 FM New York sports radio segment that everybody has been running for the past 4 years. Every time the Padres don't look perfect, they're like, they gotta trade Tatis. Like, it's just, I'm a Padres host, I get it, but I'm actually not biased. Literally every offseason, either MLB Network, ESPN radio segments are like, I heard about Tatis. Like, they're not trading him. What are you talking about? What are we doing here? At least when the Angels bring it up, it's like, well, yeah, you guys stink. So that might be why you trade your star, right? But yeah, it's definitely a team that no one's surprised that the pitching is good, right? No one's surprised about that. Maybe you're not familiar with the players, right? In the case of Drew Rasmussen and Shane Baz, especially. Personally, I think some people might have know about Baz. He was talked about a lot his rookie year, and he's been sensational. He's in the top 10 of ERA at the time of this recording, and it's not a fluke, right? Like, this guy has a wicked curveball as well. He's awesome. And then you have Rasmussen, who, a little bit more random, maybe not as expected, but then you've got Pete Fairbanks, a lot of just really good, solid pitchers. The Rays just don't seem to mess up with this. They have possibly the best pitching staff in all of baseball, and they have had for a long time. But offense, man. I mean, this is what happens. It's just kind of a team, and we're still waiting. When does Junior Caminero kind of start to explode? What have you thought about him so far? Because in terms of known players, that's probably the most famous, outside Ha-Seong Kim, probably the most famous position player for the Rays, at least heading into the year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, he is still a rookie, so there's going to be some rookie mistakes, whether it's on the base paths or defensively. We've seen some gaffes, but I think, from the onset, Ulises and I and other people that have been part of the program, it's like we need to temper our expectations a little bit. I know he was a number one top prospect, but is he leading the team in home runs right now for the Rays?
He is, with 5.
Okay, so he's basically doing what he was called upon to do. There's some other metrics and numbers you'd like to see him improve upon, but he's at least doing the thing that he's supposed to be doing. Now, I think it's still probably going to take at least another year, maybe another couple years to fully, matriculate into what the expectation is for him. But I'll put it like this. I think Junior Caminero is pretty much the least of our worries right now. One of our biggest worries is, why isn't Yandy Diaz producing? One of the biggest worries is, why isn't Brandon Lau producing? One of the biggest worries is, when are we going to get Josh Lowe back? And when are we going to get Ha-Seong Kim available? So I think it's more so on the veterans that are not carrying their weight, as opposed to some of the young players like Caminero and Aranda. Even, I know it's, not the sexiest name, but Danny Jansen. The Rays gave him a lot of money by Rays standards to be a offensive-minded catcher, and the Rays are right back at square one with the catching position offensively presently,
which has been an issue for them since we've been Rays fans, right? With little blips of Travis d'Arnaud and Wilson Ramos, and one season of Mike Zunino when he was an All-Star, Dino Navarro. It's been an issue, and you paid this man $8 million. And it wasn't just to handle the pitching staff. It was to provide some pop, and it hasn't happened. And although Caminero is young, you would like to see that slash line look a little bit more inflated. Again, 23 games, it's very small sample size, but just so Padres fans know, his slash line right now for Junior is 256, 295, 476 slug. That's a 771 OPS. 771 OPS, you'll take from a 22-year-old, right? But this is a different kind of 22-year-old, right? Like, you're expecting bigger things for him. So he's going to get graded on a different scale than other 21, 22-year-olds. And that on base needs to go up. It cannot be 295 if he's the guy that he's supposed to be.
Yeah, it seems like the Rays are just a classic case of not having enough pop, right? In terms of home runs, they are 21st in Major League Baseball. In terms of slugging, they are 16th. Yes, they're up there in batting average. Yes, obviously they have, they're exceptional when it comes to the pitching staff for the most part, but they're unable, it seems, to drive in some runs, even though technically they rate high up there in runners in scoring position, as Ulises explained before. That's because of a couple games where they just went crazy, right? And that's what happens with judging, big, small sample sizes and going by stats like that, right? So that's what happens with teams. And we're going to talk about more about both of our teams and some storylines about both. I might even let them ask me about the Padres. Maybe I might.
We'll want to.
They did. I imagine you do, and I can't wait because you guys always have a frankly disrespectful question to ask me, I feel like, and that's part of the bit. But we'll talk about that, guys, in just 1 second. But first, a word from one of our sponsors. And that sponsor, folks, is our friends over at the astounding company you've heard of before, Amazon. And specifically their Fire TV. Did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25. I know Ulises loves that. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed. Kevin's on the grind every day. And let me tell you, Amazon, it's not just that either. It's all on your Fire TV for sure, but also when it comes to entertainment, with 4K streaming, you can watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and many more. Got great Wi-Fi for elevated playing, whatever it may be. If you don't want the latency, the lag as Kevin rounds the corner, he's trying to get his UAV or Predator missile, and then, the internet was too slow. That is not going to be the case with Amazon Fire TV, folks. So let me tell you, go check it out. Head to amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, and Fire TV Cube as well. Like I said, everybody, go on and check it out. And just like that, everybody, we are back, thriving and vibing here on the Locked On Padres, Locked On Rays extravaganza crossover. We were just talking about some of the Rays' biggest storylines and whatnot, and we will be talking about them a little bit more. But first, I'm going to cede the floor for a second to answer any questions that Ulises and Kevin may have about the Padres, because let me tell you, fun team to talk about, never boring.
I bet you have, as we do, or as we did with the offseason and the stadium stuff and all that, you also have an endless amount of topics that you can talk to folks about. But one of the points of pride as a Rays fan, and I know you know this from a small market mind, it's I'm battling with the big boys. Like, we are standing up to them and bleep about that. We got them. We don't care. We're in the best bleeping division. Now, that has been how the Rays fan base has operated since 2008, since we turned it around. Like, we are the new beast of the East. You have to come through us. We can stand in front of the Yankees and Red Sox and the Orioles and the Jays whenever they're good in those seasons. But I'm kind of jealous when I look at the standings and I see that the NL West, there's no doubt about it, even with 22 games, 24, 25 games, however many games each team has played, the NL West is the best division right now in baseball. There's just it can't be told any other way. What are you seeing from this division? Because I know you haven't had a lot of head-to-heads within the division so far. So have you been realizing what has been working for the Padres? Is it just the competition that they're facing, or is this Padres team really in it to win the division?
I just don't think that until further notice you can expect anyone to beat what the Dodgers have. It's just too much. It's too much. But it's not impossible, given the fact that the Dodgers were actually kind of close last year to finally seeding the division, right? The Padres just got hot a week later than maybe they needed to, and they unfortunately lost that one Dodgers series at the end of the year, and then the playoffs as well. We don't have to talk about that one. But I think that what's interesting about this division is just that you might have a case where just all the teams are good, so therefore maybe it's just 97 wins that win the division, and the Dodgers just can't walk over the Giants, Padres, and D-backs as usual. They play them well. And the fact that the D-backs are like the 4th place division, like they would be first in basically any other division in baseball, and they're super stacked, and they've probably still got some cards up their sleeve for sure. I think that this is also, though, the counter to that as well. It's really fun for baseball. It's really great for baseball too to have such a competitive division. This is the issue: is that the Padres every weakness will get heightened, right? Like as a result, there are questions about lineup depth. I usually think people bring it up too much because, oh well, they have 2 guys out, and that makes me worried. Okay, yeah. Well, if the Rays did have Junior Caminero and Aranda, then I'd be worried about that lineup too. So I just think that they have a good lineup, but it's just you're kind of grading on whatever the opposite of a curve is, right? You just have to see whatever it's going to take. I will say one advantage or disadvantage, though, that we're going to see over the coming months is their GM is easily the craziest out of everyone in the division, and AJ Preller. This man is not afraid. I'm ready for anything, folks. Buckle up. I've been telling them to buy low on pitchers, or frankly, any player, for years. What did this man do? He was like, all right, I'm getting Dylan Cease. I'm getting Luis Ariz. I'm getting the best closer in baseball. We're going to get another one too anyway. And whatever, I'll find someone in the draft. That's just how AJ Preller operates.
This man is, I would not like to go to Vegas or the casino with Preller, because he would make me just gamble on a lot of things. So I would stay clear of that. Kevin, I know you have
He's trying to make the team better instead of just saving money left and right. That's
like that.
A unique strategy.
That's the thing. We love him so much. However, every now and then, I'm like, these days, Xander Bogaerts, hasn't been great.
How much was that contract, and how are you feeling about it right now?
It's about an 11-year deal. I'd rather not say the money amount.
Okay.
I'd rather not say.
That's a really good brief answer.
Okay, I have a quasi-legitimate question, not tongue-in-cheek, but why and how are the Padres so good at home this year? I think 17-1 last I checked, because the Rays need some of that magic for their temporary home in Steinbrenner Field, minor league stadium in Tampa, where they've already played 19 home games and are 9-10 thus far in a stadium that was supposed to be very home run friendly. And it's really only turned out to be home run friendly for the opposition, not the good guys. So that's the situation we're dealing with. But is there any extra magic or mojo as to why the Padres are doing bonkers at Petco?
Yes, because they don't have Yankee dark magic happening in their bleeping stadium. That's why.
It could be that. It could be no Yankee dark magic. It could be the fact that the Padres have not had to face any of these demons in their division just yet. They will be facing the Giants for the first time on Monday. I really hope they absolutely obliterate them for selfish reasons I won't say on air as well, and just because of the Giants. But for very petty reasons. Maybe I'll tell you guys later. But I will say that it's the vibe of Petco, always very good. They love playing there. Yes, they were bad there in 2023. They did a lot of sellout games in which they just refused to score. I think it's kind of a match made in heaven. More of a pitcher-friendly park, and this rotation is pretty good. It's a little bit weird. We're still trying to figure out who the 4 and 5 starters are, but the top 3 and Dylan Cease, who's struggled a little bit, you're going to probably see him in this series. We'll see if he bounces back. Michael King's great, and Nick Pivetta, off-season savior for this team that was lacking, rotation depth. He's had the best start through 5 games of any Padres starting pitcher, first joining the team since Joe Musgrove. So not that long ago, but that's what we're looking at right here. Really good stuff from them. And then the bullpen. That is the strength of this team. A lockdown bullpen. This is a team that can go out there and throw Wandy Peralta and Yuki Matsui at you in low leverage situations. Then have fun facing your old friend, Jason Adam, who is the 8th inning guy. That's pretty crazy. Or sometimes it's Jeremiah Estrada, a man who I will love forever for immediately unfollowing Roki Sasaki after choosing the Dodgers. That is a Padre for life. Extend him right now. He is part of the fam. And then Robert Suarez, who is the most calm fireballer you'll ever see. He's just, okay.
We'll do
this. Throw 100 right here. Yeah. And now I'm just going to develop a changeup that's really good too. That's been the key for the Padres' success. It's a match made in heaven with the ballpark, and the Padres bullpen is second to literally none. in Major League Baseball right now. I'm not making that up. They are first in ERA among all qualified teams. Went up a little bit over the last day. Yuki Matsui got hit a little bit, but all in all, they are still leaps and bounds better than basically anybody that you see in Major League Baseball. And in terms of the second best ERA, it's the Mets at 2.47. You know what the team ERA for the bullpen is for the Padres right now?
What is it?
1.47. That's right. It's obscenely good. And that is why they've been winning despite some of the injuries to Jackson Merrill, Luis Ariz, and of course, our guy Jay Cronenworth and your guy Jay Cronenworth as well.
Our minor league pitcher, our minor league pitcher Jay Cronenworth.
That's right. That's right.
You mentioned two of the names that I was gonna ask you, which are on the IL, and I'll add a third one. Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove. Tell us about their injuries. When are they expected back? And finally, we do have a Locked On Rays. How do I say this, Kev? An ongoing bit, which is really not a bit, is that if there's a player from Indiana, he gets an Indiana bump with Kevin. And if there's a player from Venezuela, they get the Venezuelan bump. So, Luis Ariz also hurt. So, can you give us the lowdown on Darvish, Musgrove, and Ariz, their injuries and their status, and when they're going to be back on their team?
Yeah, I mean, Yu Darvish, he's, someone that the Padres really would like right now, just to be that nice veteran to kind of be on this team. He's, been a little bit shaky over the years, but if he's healthy, you saw in October, he can still produce some really quality stuff. We're not totally sure, but it's looking okay about Yu Darvish. We haven't gotten an update in too long, but it's probably still looking like June, right? Like that might be it for him. And then in terms of Luis Ariz, thankfully, for those who saw the crazy collision on Sunday, 7-day IL, he rejoined the team later that night. He good. Oh. It looks like it was just a classic case of just, oh my God, you hit him in the worst place possible. And it's okay, though, thankfully. Okay. Probably one of the more scary collisions I've seen since Buster Posey, at least in baseball, because that's not something you usually see. So he's going to be all right. Probably won't see him back for this series, but outside chance, I think, on Monday. And then last with Joe Musgrove, look, he's a psycho. Not a psycho. He's a sicko. That's what I like calling him. He's a sicko. In the playoffs from a few years ago, not last year, he had something on his ear, right, that I was told is like, it just enrages your ear. Like, for some reason, he likes the pain, I guess. Okay. So is it possible that he comes back? I've seen crazier things. And unlike a certain New York Jets quarterback, he has actually spent time on the IL and done some rehab. So could you see him in the postseason? I'd give it like a 10% chance, maybe, right? Depending on how far the Padres go. Regular season, you will not, though. But we love him very much. His presence is still there. The aura of Java Joe is still there, which, I mean, frankly, what else could you ask for, guys? Aside from one more segment of this podcast, which we're going to give you in just a second, folks. But first, one more word from our sponsors. And folks, we are back just like that. The waning final crucial moments, the 8th inning, 7th inning stretch, whatever you want to call it, of this here podcast. Again, go check us out on Locked On Padres and Locked On Rays. All the links will be below, as you all know, so go check that out. I gotta ask you guys really quickly before we get into some pitching matchups. This man Aranda, you guys have two players that have been extremely good this far, like genuinely very good, to the point where it's actually a little bit concerning. Now, don't get me wrong, the Rays are known for procuring talent out of thin air. This has been happening for what feels like my entire life. But Kameron Misner and Jonathan Aranda, the latter with a 220 WRC plus, and then the former with a 199 WRC plus thus far. Like, not just good, but really good. What is going on with these guys? Were they getting sleeper buzz beforehand, or are you just as flummoxed as I am?
I'll take Aranda. You can take Misner, Kev. Aranda has hit at literally every level in the minors. You go into his minor league stats, and this guy has shown time and time again that he will destroy a baseball if it's thrown at him. And the whole thing with him, when he got his first call up in 2022, and since, it's been uneven playing time. It's been, hey, a start or two in a week, and then you don't play for 10 days, and then here's another one. Here's a pinch hit situation, because he was blocked. Another thing that got him from being a mainstay, not only because he was blocked by quote unquote larger players or bigger players, is the defense. This man is supposed to be a second baseman and a first baseman, and just it really hasn't looked that good with the glove. Which then, as you know from the outside, the Rays, what do they want? Pitching and defense. So then he also got a knock on that. He also played a little bit of third, and there was talk of like, hey, maybe we can put him in the corner outfield and use his bat. That never really matriculated, even though in the Winter League he did play in the corner outfield spot. But this year, he finally, after 3 years of being up and down.
3 years, 3 years he had cups of coffee, basically. Just stint here, but never really belonged to the role.
Yeah, 22, 23, and 24, just little stints. 24, he was going to break out, and boom, injury takes him out. So this is the year where he makes the team opening day, and he actually has a role, and this man has been doing what we all thought he could do, which is just destroy baseballs thrown at him. He's been really fun to watch. I think the Rays need a guy like him in the middle of the lineup. The issue is, like we talked in the first segment, you're not really expecting that kind of production from the likes of Misner and Aranda. You're looking at from Yandy, Bilao, and Junior Caminero. But thankfully, these two guys have stepped up to the plate and done what they've done. And because I wouldn't like to see the win-loss record without Aranda and Misner and Mangum doing what they're doing. But Kevin, can you give them a little bit of a lowdown on Cam?
Yeah, with Cam Misner, it's funny. He kind of slipped into a major league role. I think he was more on the fringes of, let me put it like this. It's not like he was a highly touted prospect. He wasn't a Caminero or a Chandler Simpson or one of these guys. Like if you looked at prospect rankings from previous years, he'd be like the team's 25th or 27th best prospect, which it means like they might not even get a call with the Rays at some point. But he's taken advantage of his opportunity. I will say one of the big flaws with Jonathan Aranda is he has absolutely no speed. He can't run. He's here to hit baseballs and stand at first base, and he's doing a good job of that thus far. But Cam Misner is like, if you were to mold a baseball play, hey, here's what a baseball player should look like. He basically fits that prototype of 6'4", 220 pounds, raw power, athleticism, speed, can play the outfield. And I'm just hoping that this run and this ride continues. We've seen it time and time again where a guy gets called up, he has a hot start, other teams make adjustments, and he flounders out. But I think Cam Misner is going to wind up being a solid piece for this team. Look, I don't see him as being a all-star quality talent or anything like that, but we're enjoying the present moment with what Aranda, what Misner, and what Mangum are providing. Out of those three, I'd probably be most bullish on Jonathan Aranda just based on his pure hit tool and the consistency of the exit velocities and his approach at the plate with the walks and lack of strikeouts. I think that maybe has a little bit more stay than a couple of those other guys. But it's still a great storyline regardless.
Kevin, I got to tell you, why do the Padres get to have Jackson Merrill type stories and we can't get a Kameron Misner, baby? Okay. Like maybe can Kameron Misner and Jake Mangum be our Jackson Merrill? What the bleep, man? I want one of those too, must be nice to have a Jackson Merrill come out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, and
it's
then
pretty
maybe
sick.
Tim Misner will get the money of Jackson Merrill someday.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Exactly, man. Well said by both of you guys. Those are kind of the players in the Rays lineup to definitely keep an eye out that you probably haven't heard of before. But in general, a lot of plus WRC plus guys. So this could be a situation in which when you have a pitcher's duel, which we might have on Friday, just stringing together some hits and driving in a couple runs, it might make the difference because Friday's matchup is blockbuster Michael King versus Shane Baz. I can't wait. Despite the fact that Shane Baz's profile photo disturbs me every time. Every single time I see it, freaks me out. I'm not making fun of the hair. It looks weird in the profile photo that they put for Major League Baseball. It feels like there's going to be a sequel to Hannibal Lecter or something like that. I don't know what it is, but that's going to be blockbuster. Shane Baz having the breakout that I think a lot of people expected. It was just a little bit delayed. right? Like we had a little bit of a delayed one because of the injuries and whatnot, but he looks great. That is going to be an awesome game. And then on Saturday, folks, we've got ourselves a little bit of a not necessarily like a blockbuster matchup, but considering he hasn't been pitching as well this year, Ryan Pepiot versus Dylan Cease. Curious to see how that one goes because Cease has been, again, I don't think this is a long-term issue with him, but so far he has been the bad Dylan Cease. I think that he's going to step it up at some point. His pitch mix has been going back to the usual. He actually was experimenting with a changeup. Then he got lit up and he was like, no, I want to get paid this offseason. And he went back to the fastball slider combination with a knuckle curve as his third. We'll see how that one goes. And then lastly, on Sunday, I believe, we've got ourselves, what the heck is on Sunday? Let me pull this up. I forgot to have this one. Zach Little versus Randy Vasquez. Probably the less exciting of all of the pitching matchups. Randy Vasquez, do not let the 3.97 ERA fool you, has not been lights out in a lot of ways. Like he looked good in his first few starts. He added a cutter that works better against lefties. But let me tell you, the stats are inflated. He had one of, prior to this past week, the greatest discrepancies in ERA and expected ERA in all of Major League Baseball. He was rocking at 1.7 and his X was like 5.6. He produces a decent amount of weak contact. That's the one thing he does, but he doesn't know how to strike anybody out. He's not had a single start where he's struck out more batters than allowed walks. Yeah, I know.
That game might be a lot of hits because Zach Littell has been hit around.
Yes,
I would take the over on that, folks, and I'm not an expert, but I think that would be a no. With your description, I can tell you with our description of there, I think we're going to see a lot of runs maybe that day.
And maybe the Padres will get that one with their offense hopefully waking up against this game. We'll see, though, because if there's one advantage the Rays may have this series is singles and doubles might do it for you because the Padres right now are basically Gavin Sheets a little bit, right? We're going to see him, assuming, they don't sit him too much. They sit him against lefties, so we'll see how that goes if they have to sub him out at certain times. It's basically been Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. versus the world. I don't know how long that's going to keep up. I'm optimistic that maybe a guy like Tirso Ellis, he might get a little bit better. Got robbed the other day of a hit against the Tigers by Javier Baez, of all people, playing center field, by the way. Just what are we doing in this world?
That was crazy.
Yeah, that was just like, really? So you're Mays now? So you're better in center field than shortstop all of a sudden? What a weird player. Anyway, I kind of love him. But that is the pitching breakdown, guys. Are there any other things people should know about those starters that are going to be pitching this weekend?
I don't know necessarily about the starters. I would just say the Rays offense, better do something because there's been games where they haven't done anything. So let's hope they can put a couple of runs on the board for our sake. But I will say this just as a whole, we've mentioned several Rays players, but keep an eye on recent call-up Chandler Simpson. I will go on record and say that he is the fastest ball player in the game right now, and that should make for some hijinks and excitement during the course of this season.
Hold up. I heard like 17 Padres say, that's absurd. He's not the fastest man in baseball. I'm talking to you, 17 Padres fans. Yes, he bleeping is. Okay, just you watch. I heard 13. Wait, no way. Yes, 13 Padres fans. Yes, he bleeping. This man, see his highlights, dude? Like, if you just enjoy baseball, like, my God, he's insane. So watch him play.
On a sacrifice fly in college.
It's nuts, the stuff he does. So, like, if you're a Padres fan, maybe take out the Padres hat for just his at-bats and just enjoy a dude that has a sick athleticism. Yeah,
it's awesome. This is a guy that we'll see how it pans out, these big high-speed guys and whatnot, but we do know that the speed is legit. It reminded me of, like, the freakish things that you saw Ichiro Suzuki do back in the day. Now, obviously, more refined hitter. I'm not saying that this guy's Ichiro, but what I remember all-star game, hits a right back to the pitcher and is somehow outrunning it. Like, those are the type of highlights you will see when you watch this guy. Highly recommend everyone check him out as well. Should be a fun series, guys. I'm really excited. Again, go check out both of us. You can follow Ulises at Sambrano Ulises on Twitter and at Kevin Weiss _. Me at Javipeno, JAVIIPENO on Twitter /X and Blue Sky. Guys, as always, it's a pleasure. As always, I love it. We've had a lot of exchanges between our teams over the years. Not lately, though. We haven't had one in a little bit, outside the Jason Adam one, right?
Yeah.
You had a little Jason Adam action, but could it happen again? Padres and Rays, weird trade partners.
You want to take Chris Morel from us? We can work out a Chris Morel
who
deal.
just hit a home run, by the way, as we were recording, by the way. So maybe, we'll have to see. Honestly, the Padres might need a Christopher Morel. It might happen, folks. We'll have to see. So keep an eye on all those guys for the Rays and the Padres. Everybody, that about does it today, though, for today's edition of the Locked On Padres and Locked On Rays podcasts. Check me out on all the places. I already said this already. I'm repeating myself. Until next time, stay faithful, my Friars faithful homies, and stay, Ray Donkulus, my Rays brethren. Until next time, everybody, take care.